All right, looks like we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this live broadcast. Welcome to PTM Skill Up Show. If you're here with me, say hello in the background. Don't be in the background. Yeah, say hello. That's becoming my signature phrase, right? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this live broadcast. We are here again. It's another Monday, and it's that time where we skill up our children. Okay, it's that time where we come to learn or to get tips that we can use for the week. Call it your weekly tonic. That's what the Skill Up Show is, where we come together to have to talk about issues. Okay, we talk about skills that affect our children, skills that affect our preteens, okay, and young children especially. We talk about this, and then we can take these skills and begin to apply them in our parenting. And as we do, we will definitely see results. All right. My name is Veribet Chima. I'm the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources, where we are all about creating solutions for parents that can help them support their children effectively. That's what we're about in PTM. We want to help you create solutions that you can use as parents to support your children. We want to create solutions that you can get for your children, and your children can use those solutions to help them learn skills, get tools, learn skills, learn strategies that they can apply in their lives in order for them to navigate on their own and become wholesome children. So we are all about raising the wholesome child. We're all about using a holistic approach to raise children who turn out to be happy. Okay, they are happy as children, and then of course they grow up to be happy adults who understand the place of their purpose, and they are able to impact the people around them. We want to raise children who can create solutions. The world is in need of people who can create solutions. So wouldn't you? Oh, what happened? The world is in need of people who can create solutions. So wouldn't you rather raise a child who is a gift to the world? Raise a child who can be someone who can create solutions for the world. All right, now that's what we are all about. Now, today, what skill are we talking about? All right, what skill are we talking about today, or what are we talking about today that can affect you as a parent and can help your child be the best version of themselves? All right, today we're looking at how you as a parent can understand when your child needs your support and how to offer that support. Okay, when your child needs your support and how to offer that support. All right, yesterday I was in a powerful session. Oh my goodness, yesterday was powerful. If you were at the masterclass, the free masterclass that we gave, if you were there yesterday, please come in the comments and let us know how you found that class. I already know how the parents who were there found that class. Please share with the people in the group what that class did for you. It was it was fire. Yes, if you have not caught that master class, or you were not in that master class, you are in luck. Do you know why I say you're in luck? Because we did not finish the session. It's a master class. We're thinking we will wrap all we had in 1.5 hours. But believe me, we were there for almost 2 hours yesterday, and we did not exhaust the message that we came to share with parents. Okay? So we have another session. Okay, the second session in that masterclass, we have that coming up tomorrow. So if you were not there yesterday, you want to make sure that you make it there tomorrow. Okay, you want to make sure that you are there tomorrow for the second part of that session. We're not having it today because today is usually very loaded for my for the team and I. We're usually loaded. I mean, there's a lot of activities that go on in the academy on Monday, so we had to make it on a Tuesday. So yes, you can catch the replay of yesterday's session and make sure you're there on Tuesday for the Tuesday session. It will bless your life. It will change your mindset. It would give you clarity. That session, that masterclass will give you clarity. It will change your mindset. It will help you begin to understand more, okay, about who your child is, how your child is growing, and so it positions you to better support your child. Today, we're looking at when you should help your child and how to help your child when your child needs help. I'm going to be focusing on two things, okay, when we talk about this today. I'll be focusing on two things, okay? And this is just a little excerpt from what we talked about yesterday, but very, very key, okay? I'll be focusing on two things. I'll be focusing on, not on the yes, a little on the foundation, right, of your child, because everything our children are, or everything that you will see with your children is going to begin with you paying attention to the foundation stage of their lives, okay? Being able to pay attention to the first 6 years in the life of your child would change everything, or will set the stage for everything, okay, for the rest of their lives. I want to say that again. If you are able to pay attention to the first 6 years of the life of your child, you would have set the stage for the rest of their life. So every time I meet parents who have toddler children, who have toddlers, every time I meet parents who have children who are under 6, if you know how I envy them, if you know how I envy parents who have children that are under 6, it means that there is still a window of opportunity for you to correct a lot of things, to put a lot of things in place, for you to do a lot of programming in your child when they are at that stage, because that is like the most crucial stage in their development and their growth. So you want to harness that period in the life of your child. It's a very, very key period in their lives. Yeah. So yes, everything that we talk about here, especially because we are very focused on young children and preteens. Now, we created a program, the Mastermind program, right? So we have a program in the academy. It's our biggest program in the academy right now because of how important it is, right? Because of how important it is. And the aim of the Mastermind, one of the aim of the Mastermind is to help fill the gaps that we must have missed in the first stage of our children's life, the 0 to 6. Okay, so by the time our children are 6, they are in that last phase of most of the critical period, or most of the sensitive period of their life, right? By the time they are there, a lot of things, the sensitive period for a lot of things that they would have learned naturally without having to struggle they're passing that phase. Now, after that phase, what happens is they begin to lose even the things that they have learned naturally, the things that have come in naturally for them. They begin to lose them gradually if there is nobody who is there to understand this and to help them build on the skill that they have learned naturally. So what we're doing in the Mastermind is identifying the gaps in our children's life and filling them up, and then helping the children begin to practice those things consistently, so that these things become a habit, or become habits in their life, and these things become a part of them. It is with consistency that mastery is achieved. Yes, it's with consistency that your children become or gain mastery of skills, habits, and things that will become a part of their lives. And now these things that become a part of their life, these skills, these habits, basically will form who they are. It is the skills and the habits that will form who our children are eventually. And who you are is the adult that you are going to be. Who you are is how you're going to do things, right? are, is how you're going to do things, is going to determine, your entire life, basically. So we cannot do anything here in the master. We cannot do anything here at PTM. We cannot do anything right now without paying attention to the foundation stage of your child's life. We can't. Good afternoon, Chidima, or good morning. It's your morning. We can't do anything without paying attention to the foundation stage. So that's why we say to parents, harness the foundation stage of your child's life. Harness it. Be there at that period. That's the period where you have to be there observing. That is the period where they say learning is really, really child-led, because, hey, you are paying attention. You cannot get the foundation stage right if you are not present. You are not present physically, emotionally, and in every way. So yes, you want your child to know God. It is in the foundational stage that you will model who God is to your child. It is in the foundation stage that you will live and your child will see what it means to know God through you. You want your child to do well in music. It is in the foundation stage that you will start paying attention, right, to see when that period, whatever you want to see, you want your child, right? You want a child to do well in music, or you want your child, to excel in music or something like that. Or you want to even pay attention to see if your child has a knack, or your child has, anything for music. Now you are paying attention. It's through being present and paying attention that you will identify if your child has got something for this skill. Now, if you're not paying attention, you would not know. If you're not paying attention, you would not know. I'm not going to be talking about the sensitive period in our children's life today. I'm not going to be talking about it. It's not part of what I'm talking about. But hey, there is something known as the sensitive period. And that period is the period where your child is naturally drawn to a particular, a particular thing in their environment. The child is particularly drawn to a skill at that time. It is not controllable. The child is drawn to it. So basically, your child is found doing that thing, right? Doing that thing with all joy and interest. And basically, the child can learn that thing naturally during that phase. Now, what is your job as a parent is to understand and to pay attention, first of all. And by paying attention, you are able to see that, oh, this child is in the sensitive period for this particular thing. What do? That's when you begin to create opportunity. You create opportunities for the child to learn more in that area. You begin to create opportunities through your interaction, through the things that you have in your environment, through play is okay. Through play, through your interactions, you make this thing available, because at this time your child's concentration is fixed on that thing. It is a natural pull to that thing. So you must pay attention to this. Okay, so we're talking about when you should help your child, okay, and how you should help your child. So I was going to pay attention. I said I was going to talk about the observant mind of your child. Now, in the early stage of your child's life, right from day one of your child's life, what happens is your child is soaking up everything in their environment. Yes. Your 2-day-old child, your child that has just been given birth to, okay, comes and becomes aware of their environment. First of all, this child comes in and the child is birthed. Okay, as the child is birthed, the child has no idea, right? Yes, yes, it comes with ease. The child has no idea of what to expect of this new world that they are in. So they come into this new world, okay? They were comfortable in the womb. Child was doing perfectly well in the womb. The womb was warm and calm. It's such a beautiful place to be in. And then all of a sudden, the child is giving birth to, he's born into the space. You know how it is in the theater, right? Or in the labor room. The child is born and usually the labor room is really like cold. So the child comes into this cold space, right? He comes into this cold space, it's a new environment altogether. Apart from that, the child is being spanked like pow, 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 for the child, to take that first breath, right, and begin to cry and all of that. Now, when the child comes in, from that moment, everything that is done in the child's environment is being soaked in by the child. This is the knowledge of the environment that the child has after the child is birthed. Okay, so that first spanking is what the child, first of all, even thinks that the world is about. He comes in and he is whooped, and then there is this cold and all of that. That is why even medicine has recognized that there is a need, especially in advanced world, that they do the things they do from a place of of deep understanding. So that's why they understand that the moment that happens these days, they're even trying to make it as calm as possible, not so hard for the child. And that's why immediately they put the child to the mother's breast, skin to skin and all of that, so that your child gets warmth from you and the child is able, something to counter that first harshness. They need your child to bond with you immediately, to trust you, to understand that this environment that you just had, or this thing that you just had the last few minutes, is not what this world is about. Come here and stay with mommy, and you're there for a whole 1 hour or more, and then the child begins to see, okay, it's really not that harsh, it's still really warm, it's still really, and there's something here, there's someone here. That is the essence behind all the bonding and all of that. That's why in the real, in places where they understand this, except in case of an emergency, the child is allowed to bond with the parents, so that the child understands that the world is not that harsh. And that is because they know that the child is already absorbing everything in their environment. Every sound, every smell, every sound, every smell, everything, every touch, every feeling, the child is already absorbing all of this. The child is mopping from everything in its environment. Okay, the child knows everything in the environment. The child is already gathering his own experiences in the environment. Now, away from that period, as the child goes, I'm sorry, 1 second, please. Can you increase this fan for me? Okay, as the child grows older, right? As the child grows older, still in your environment, the child will see what entails in that environment. How organized is your environment? How structured is your environment? How hardworking are the people in that environment? What is the sense of love in that environment? What is the sense to duty in that environment? What is going on in your environment? This is what the child is going to be mopping in. Okay, so if you have an environment that has got structure in it, if your home has got routines and structure, there is the time for this, there is the time for that, and the child sees that there is a time for this, there is a time for that. So there is a time to wake up in the morning. Children thrive on routines, and that is because they are still trying to understand their world. So at the point where the child is trying to understand their world, if you do not give them any form of consistency, the child is confused every day. It's like you leaving Nigeria, for instance, and going to China. You wake up in the morning, you are still here trying to understand. Let's say you moved from my village in Bokiland, and then you are leaving my village for the first time. First of all, you get to Abuja and you are even, first of all, what's going on here? How come everywhere? The roads are like so peaceful. The roads are so cool and everything. Why isn't why don't I have to climb one bridge? The bridge that they have to even put they have to even arrange the wood for us to cross and pass. I remember when my husband and his family came to marry me, he was like, what is going on here? Like, we actually need to arrange the bridge for us to cross or something like that. Yes. So he moves from that situation, and then he comes where the roads are tarred and everything and all of that. The next day is in a plane off to China, or a plane off to some, let me use China. China is just fine. He gets to China, and even what you call the advancements there is even much more than what he saw in Abuja. Everything, the roads are cool and all that. And there is this strange language going on all around the place. He cannot understand a single person, and nobody seems to understand him. And today he has to stand here and get on the bus. The next day he comes, the place where that bus station is changed. There is now a train there. He's confused. He was a bus I saw yesterday. Why is he a train today? The next time he comes, it is a different thing altogether. This person is going to be confused. So if it's the bus I'm taking, allow me learn how to take the bus at least for 1 week or 1 month. So if it comes every morning and it's the bus, the bus is right there at a particular time. Probably he has to go to the office or go to, to school or somewhere. He gets there. The bus is there at that right time. If you're there at 8, there will be the bus. So you get there at 8, the bus is right there. You get on the bus and then you know your bus stop. You drop there. And isn't that how a lot of us thrive when we go to new places? That's how you thrive now when you go to new places. I remember the last time I was in London, the first time I was in London as the last time I was young, I was in my teenage, right? My early 20s, right? Yes. I didn't go with anybody. I went all by myself. And so what did I use? All I used was the map. It was just the map that I used. And so I knew what station to be every time I stepped out of the house. I knew what station to be at, and I knew what train to wait for, right? I knew what station to get off at. And that was all that I needed, isn't it? That was all that I needed, I knew where to get to, where to get on, and when to get off. And that was enough. With time, I learned to go to other places, and I learned to navigate around there. By the subsequent times that I had to visit, it became better and easier every time. So that's what we're talking about. So when children come into this world, it's not that easy. So what they need is a sense of organization. They need a sense of routine. They need to wake up to a particular thing. They need to wake up to that routine. Now, within that routine, you introduce chore as a parent, right? You introduce chore, and your children see how people people take their chores seriously or take their commitments seriously and all of that. And this is how the child understands this. Now, what happens a lot of the times is we do not bother with all of the structure that we're talking about. We do not bother to create the structure. Sorry, I'm really hot here and I need help. Who is there? Can you come and increase this fan for me? Can you hear me? All right. So what we do is the kids come in, and sorry about that. The kids come in, yes, and we do not. They come in and there is no structure in our system. There's no structure in our system. There is no modeling, the right modeling in our system. There is no, most importantly, there is no consistency in our system. So it is such that this is done today, tomorrow is done differently, one day it is done, the next day it's not done at all, and all of that. Sometimes the people in our home are different. For the first few months of their life, is one nanny. The next time is another person. So the child is confused. So now what now happens? We do not bother to introduce them into the system where they are allowed to have responsibility. So remember, in the first place, that the first thing that happens is your child studies. The first thing that happens is your child is soaking up everything in their environment. Your child is learning from their environment. First thing first, your child is learning from their environment, is soaking up everything in their environment. So it is how it is your mindset to your commitment, right? It is how you commit to your commitment. It is how you show up, for the things that with the places and the things where you need to show up. It is how you do the things that you do. How diligent are you in the things that you do? It is in the language that you speak in your home. How do you talk to people in your home? It is in your mindset. What's your mindset? I mean, when it comes to work, when it comes to duty, what's your mindset? It is in what your child sees you model. So remember that your child is soaking up everything in their environment. Now, the next thing I'm talking about is the desire for independence. Now, right from a tender age, children want to do things for themselves. You will realize that by the time your child is 1.5 or 2, thereabouts, your child wants to do things on their own. Your child wants to, they tell you they want to give themselves a bath. They tell you they want to hold the spoon and feed themselves. Your child is constantly fighting with you, to do something and all of that. Now, this is the point where we are too concerned about our environment being a certain way. We don't want to mess things up. More like we do not want to stress. We do not want to stress because we don't want the children to make a mess. So because we don't want the children to make a mess, and because we don't like messes, what happens? We keep telling the children, no, 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 no. We do not allow the children to do anything. We do not allow the children to try anything. In many cases, anyway, we have all the nannies and all the people at home who can do all of these things. So what do you need a child trying to do these things, for, basically? Now, even when you have these people, the child can really not do these things on their own. But even to allow the child mimic these people or allow the child help these people, we don't do this. And so at that critical stage in their life where these skills should kick in, we do not allow it. At the time where your child's desire for independence is high, you are not allowing them do anything. Now, this is natural. Remember, I said it is natural because God knows that a point will come in the life of your child where your child will have to be independent and will have to do things on their own. But look at you, or look at us as parents. We are stopping this from happening. We're not allowing them do things on their own. We're not allowing them try out things. We're not allowing them try their hands on things. So we are stopping, or we are stifling the desire to do things. So of course, your child does not build on that skill, or that skill does not kick in when it should kick in naturally. And so your child does not build stamina in this area. For some of us, our children do not even start doing chores till they are somewhere around age 10 or even later. There are children who are 10-year-olds in their homes that do not have chores, that do not do chores, that have never done chores. Like they don't wake up to a responsibility. Meanwhile, the window period or the sensitive period for your child to do a lot of these things is actually between 0 and 6. So this is your child who hasn't developed any of these skills all through the sensitive period where these skills are supposed to be easily learned. Yes, at that point, they are learned in the finest way. Like it's learned in the finest way, in the easiest way, okay? And your child does it almost unconsciously. No serious effort made. So meaning every time you stretch the child, every time you give the child, at that stage, when you stretch the child is able to meet up to that expectation or that challenge because your child is in their natural element to be able to do that thing at the time. So what happens? You take that independence away from the child. The ability to do things on their own is taken away because you do not allow the child to exercise their muscle in this area. And so what happens? All of a sudden, your child is 15 and you do not understand why their room is never tidy. Now, at this point, what happens? You, instead of understanding the fact that, okay, a lot of this is because of what I didn't do, instead of understanding that a lot of this is because I did not have knowledge at the time, what happens? You begin to fight with them. You begin to struggle with them. So not only did you stop the child from reaching their full potential, now you are here creating expectations of someone that you have not allowed to build muscles. So you have first of all made a mess of the child in the first stage of the child's life, and then in the second stage of the child's life, you are there ready to make a little more mess by messing up their emotional messing up their emotions and all of that. So you see how a lot of times as parents, we are the ones who are actually the stumbling, the village people, not us, in the life of our children. So as a parent, a lot of times you are the village person in your child's life. I sent a quote in the morning today and I said that your child was created to become. So every time you offer unsolicited help to your child, okay, every time you offer unsolicited help your child, you stop the child from building muscles in that area, or you stop the child from building the muscles that will help them become. So you are invariably stopping that child from becoming all that God has created them to be. Let me repeat that. Your child was created to become. Your child was created to become, to keep becoming something to the world, becoming something to himself, becoming something to God, becoming something that God has created him to be. Your child's purpose is predestined. It is bigger than you and bigger than the child. So for every stage in the child's life, God has got purpose for the child. So all the child needs to do is become. Okay, and it is a journey. Becoming is a process. Becoming is a journey. So what happens is a lot of time as parents, because we do not understand our role in the children's life, we stop them from becoming. We stop the process of becoming. So yes, you end up being the reason. You can actually end up being that person that stops your child from becoming. You can actually end up being that person that stops your child from achieving or from living the purpose for which God has created them. So we need to be careful. You cannot be offering unsolicited help to your children. Now, how do we understand, or how do we know when we need to help our children? Because some of us have helped our children to the point of stupor. We've helped them to the point of them being helpless. We've helped them to the point where they cannot even do anything on their own anymore because they are constantly depending on that help. So what happens is, at the point where your child is in the absorbent phase of their life, okay, that point where they are absorbing everything, their mind is like a sponge. It's a sponge. Your brain is in its sponge-like form. The child is in a hypnotic phase of their life, and everything that is in their environment, they are taking in indiscriminately. They are not discriminating. Okay, the English has stuck. So your child is not discriminating anything in their environment. The child is taking in everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. At that point of their life, right? The child is taking in everything in their environment. They do not discriminate without biases. Everything is soaked in. They do not have any prejudice at this point. They take in everything in their environment. Now, at that point, if there's no culture of orderliness, at that point, if there's no culture of hard work, at that point, if there's no culture of stability, at that point, if there is no trust, at that point, if there is nothing for the child to build on, your child is going to have nothing when it comes to all of these things that they need to be able to do things on their own. At this stage that your child is mopping everything in the environment, if your child is not being modeled to how to do the things that they need, you want your child to excel in school, your child is not being modeled to, you're not teaching your children concept. I hope you know there is the sensitive period for concept where your children are learning concepts and they're learning, they have a sensitive period for all of these things. Okay, I'm not diving into all of that. The Skill Up Show is a short show where we just give you tips and hacks. Basically, we don't come in details. If you want to hear, if you want to have details of what I'm talking about here right now, go to the master class. We broke it down there in detail. We even gave the what do you call it? We gave the sensitive period for different things. And hey, that's not even all. We have a challenge that is coming up. Okay, registration for that challenge is open. The team is going to post it after this session, and you have it. In that challenge, we're going to be dealing with sensitive period for different things, different phases. Basically, we're going to be dealing with different skills that your children have. We're going to be dealing with different things that children can learn in the different areas that we talked about. 6 areas. Okay, we talked about academics, we talked about, why am I telling you all these things? Go and watch the video. So we talked about academics, we talked about their foundation stage, right? We talked about consolidation, which is what we do in the mastermind. We talked about consolidation, we talked about their purpose, we talked about all of these things in that masterclass. Now, there is the phase for all of these things, even after your children have passed the first 6 years. Okay, we talked about this for your preteens, your teenager, basically. So what have we done? We have created a curriculum. We have put a curriculum together, and we are going to be going with you on a challenge, a 30 days challenge, where we have playful ways that you can introduce these skills in your home and get your children to begin to do these things in your home, right? In a 30 day, with a 30-day process. Let me tell you, consistency is huge in every endeavor. Consistency, saying on something for 30 days is the least that you should do if you want to turn that thing into a habit, or you want to see good results in that thing. So yes, we have created a 30-day curriculum for you to harness window period and harness, the gaps, for you to fill the gaps that your children have missed in this period. We've created activities for 30 days that you will do with your children. Okay, we are going to have 3 days live session where we will teach you how to use the curriculum. We will show you how to go about the curriculum, basically, and then we're going to give you accountability for the rest of the journey, so that you can intentionally, you can't do anything with your children without being intentional at this stage. If you don't know it now. You have to be intentional. So 30 days you can do this, and then what you can do is you can repeat this process every now and then, because you have this resource with you. We're giving you this tool, and then you can use them every now and then, use them for different children and all of that. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And you know how we do our challenge. Our challenges are never expensive. 3,500 naira is all that you get to pay to go on this journey with us. 3,500 naira. That's all you need to pay to go on this journey with us. In that challenge, by the time you are done, especially if you are, it's for everybody. If you're a preteen parent, okay, you would understand what it means to look out for these window opportunities, or look out for this sensitive period. And when you see the sensitive period, we have activities in that challenge that you can use to fill into those periods. How amazing is that? A lot of times what we do is we get information, but we do not know how to go about this information because there is no practical to it. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to help you pay attention and then know what to do for each of these phases. So we're going to be looking at the 6 different areas. We're going to be looking at window periods in the first foundation stage, and then we're going to be looking at those other 6 areas and what you need to do for each of these areas in order for you to be intentional and for you to nip what you need to nip in the board, and make sure that you're harnessing every opportunity. Now, I did not say this, or I don't know if I've said this before. What happens is, this is your child's journey, and your child is going through all of these things naturally. Your role as a parent is to identify this, and it's only when you can identify this that you know when to support the child. Okay, when you identify this through the knowledge that we are giving you, you now know when to You now know when to, support the child. Now, with what we will give you in the challenge, you now have how to support the child. So now this is when you come in and you begin to support the child, not when your child does not need it or when your child can learn it on their own. So yes, when your children are at that phase as toddlers, when they want to do things on their own, you are giving your child a bath and the child is like, no, 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 I want. Please, parents, allow the child give themselves a bath at that time. Oh, amazing. Okay, and you want to give yourself a bath, hand whatever it is. The child is going to make a mess and you say to the child, okay, let's do it with a song. This is the way I scrub my neck, and the child scrubbing his neck and he's scrubbing. Oh, got it arm. This is the way I raise my hand and I go to my armpit, scrub, scrub. You do all of that. If you don't have time for parenting, then you're not ready. Okay? The little 3 minutes and 5 minutes extra that you can give to, what do I call it? If all that you have to do is give a little 2-3 minutes to help better the rest of the life of your child, please do it. And it goes, it's the same thing. Just like it's easy for the children to learn during this first phase of their life or during the window period for these things or the sensitive period for these things. Just the way it is, that's how it is easier for you to help them, or easier for you to teach during this phase. It's much more difficult for you to teach later. It's much more difficult for you to teach these things later. But you need to pay attention to the window period and pay attention to when your child is ready. It is the same thing with potty training. I'm sure Chidima will know about this. Chidima just wrote a book on potty training. Okay, so Chidima is here in the group. She just wrote a book on how children can potty train and all of that. You should chat with her if you have a child and you're trying to get the child, to that place and all of that. There is the way some of us jump into. You hear all kinds of things and people tell you, oh, from the beginning, start putting the child in the window period. If the child is not ready for that thing yet, the child is not ready. There's actually a window period for that, for toileting. So in the challenge, you will know all of that. So there's a window period for toileting. It is when during that window period for toileting that you come in and harness it immediately. So you come in and harness it because nature has made the child ready. Okay, nature has made the child ready for that activity. So there is a natural pull to that activity at that time. And so if you harness it, then the child would do well in that area straight up. So if you are not paying attention, it's not going to happen. If you're not paying attention, you will be missing so many opportunities. And as I said, it's easier for you to teach them during those periods than it is for you to teach them later. I like the way Coach Wendy says, you must do the time. You either do the time now in peace or you do the time later in tears. Either way, you will do the time. So why don't you do the time at a time where the child is prepared for that learning, as opposed to doing the time at the time where the child is pushing back and the child is being rebellious? Because the process of unlearning does not happen until the individual is ready and is intentional about unlearning. And it doesn't even stop there. The person will have to do the drill, meaning the person will have to put in the work, because unlearning is not that easy. Unlearning is not that easy. I remember how long it took for me to remember to start turning off the lights in my car. Yes, I had driven my Toyota for so many years and my car was stolen. When my car was stolen, I had to start driving my husband's BMW. Now in my Toyota, I just come park my car and then switch over, turn off the ignition, carry my car key, and I walk into my house. I cannot shout. Then here I was, and I had to start driving a BMW, and my husband had all these protocol, how you have to turn this off, turn that off, do this here, big car, big wahala, and all of that. So I remember how many times he had to say to me, oh, Mary Beth, you did not remember to go. I'm sorry, honey. I remember how many times I had to go on, because the process of unlearning is not easier. Easy. The older you are, the more difficult it is. So yes, what you want to do is you want to pay attention to your children early in their lives so that you can offer help only when they are ready for your help. You need to pay attention to your children. It is when they say education should be child-led, that's what they are talking about. When the child is ready. And then when the child is ready, you will have to do it in the way that the child understands it, or in the way that the child learns. Meaning you cannot parent a child, or you cannot help a child learn. You cannot teach a child that you do not understand how they learn. So how does your child learn? What is their learning style? What love language works for your child? Some children will not learn in the morning because they are moody. Do you understand that? Some children will shut down by the time it's 12 o'clock. They've had enough. Do you understand that? Some children will learn while they are moving. Do you understand that your child is tactile? Some children will only learn when there's a picture to look at. Do you know that your child is a visual learner? Some children want to hear, they want to listen. How much sound do you have in your background? I remember when I pulled my daughter out of school and I was homeschooling her, because I had just reached the point where I realized I had just started learning and doing a lot of research about window period and sensitive period and all of that. So I had just gotten insights about that. And at this point, my daughter was already 4 years old. There were things that I knew that, okay, the sensitive period for some of these things I was about to lose, and I was already beginning to see certain things. And so when I had the opportunity, I took it, because I said to myself, if I'm going to harness this, it is better when she is with me more than she is with other people who are not on the same page with me. So yes, I pulled my child out of school for 2 years. Yes, and I homeschooled her. During those homeschooling days, I promise you, okay? During those homeschooling days, I promise you, math and all those things they do in school was not priority. Priority was watching the child and harnessing. Do you know that there is the sensitive period for developing math skill? So yes, I harnessed that period. I did. And today, my daughter does not, she swims in math. And I'm not joking. She's 7 years old, and math concepts come to her. Math concepts actually come to her easily. So that's it, that child that you are pushing from one lesson to the other, up and down the place. It's not at that point, lesson, that the child, that's not it. Most of it is that window period to understand concepts that you did not harness. That's where the issue is. So now it's not by forcing too much into the child. It's not by forcing too much into the child. It's by understanding the child, understanding how the child learns, and then offering that knowledge in a fun way that is appealing to the child. Because at that stage where we are trying to repair, at that stage where we're trying to, fill in the gap, one formula is very important. That's the concept you're teaching the child, right? Or whatever it is you're teaching the child, the activity, plus a sense of satisfaction is equal to motivation. At this point, it is only with self-motivation or motivation that can be translated by the child from external to internal. That is the way that your child is going to learn. Let me repeat that. At the point where you're trying to repair, you have missed the window period, you have missed the sensitive period for a particular thing, meaning your child is gone beyond 0 to 6. Every other thing that you're teaching your child after age 6 means that you must teach it in a way that the child feels, you must teach it in a way that the child gets a sense of satisfaction from, for that thing to actually be internalized. You must teach that thing in a way that the child gets a sense of satisfaction from. So whatever activity it is that you're teaching your child, there must be a sense of satisfaction in that activity. And with children, what's the sense of satisfaction? A lot of the time, it is play. It has to be done in a playful way. It has to be done in a fun way for them to get a sense of satisfaction. When that happens, the child is motivated, self-motivated to do that thing. And that brings us to one of the skills that your children need by the time they are adolescents. One of the skills is self-motivation, executive functioning skills. One of them is self-motivation. By the time your child is an adolescent, time your child begins to get to 8, 9, thereabout, your child should be able to motivate himself. Self-motivation. And the easiest way for you to get children to self-motivate is to put them in the company of other children like themselves. Children influence themselves better than any other person can influence a child. Write that down somewhere. Children influence themselves better than any other person can influence a child. That is why peer pressure is a thing. Because when children are in a group, it is very easy to learn what Kamsi is doing. It's very easy is doing. That's why it's easy for your younger children to pick all the manner, because somewhere they are closer to each other's age and they are in their minds some sort of pairs. So they will pick more from their younger ones, from their old immediate younger ones, or their siblings that are closer in age with them. So when you have children in a group, and some of the children are forward thinkers, some of the children are practical, some of the children have certain skills, and they do these things, in a way that is enticing. What happens is other children begin to pick this habit, or they begin to learn these things from these children. So that's why you want to put your children in a community with other children who are forward thinking and already building positive attitude. And that's what the mastermind is about. So the mastermind circle is a peer accountability program that we run for children between 6 and 14. We get sense. We know what we did do. We have sense. I repeat it. We know what we did do. We are trying to fill in the gaps that we have missed during this sensitive period 0 to 6. So this is us trying to fill that up for you, or this is us trying to fill that up with you, because the mastermind is a partnership between you and us and the child. Is that triangle relationship, a triangular relationship. It's the same thing that the school tries to, achieve in a way. But what happens is the school is centered more on their academics, and because pastoral care is not that easy in school, because the school has got to deal with many children at the same time. So it is easier from home, basically. So now what we have at home is parents a lot of times do not know how to go about this. They do not know how to stay in there. They do not know how to be consistent. And of course, there is that advantage of your children listening to other voices that sound like your voice, or that say the same thing that you say. It is confirmed. You know how the scripture says, once you have said it the second time, that confirmation comes. Okay. So basically, that's it. And as I said, peer pressure is a thing. So put them in a community for consolidation. So after all the things that they have learned, they come and they're in a community where they can apply what they have learned. In the mastermind circle, the children set goals at the beginning of the cohort. Okay, they set goals, and throughout the period, for a whole month, we have goals for this month. For the whole month, the children are working on these goals and they are reporting every day. So you have that child that does not report every day. You have that child that reports every day. You have that child whose report is just, I did 1 thing, 2 things. Yet you have that child that does everything. And before you know it, you see that gradually more of the children are, because you have these consistent ones that do it well. I mean, you have children who have like 3, 4 activities. They swim in a day, they go for basketball practice, they do their homework, they do all of these things. And the child that is struggling with doing one is there looking at this one. And before you know it, our children begin to step up and step up. And what they're doing is they're beginning to learn from each other. During our conversations at the meeting, the children anchor the meeting on their own. So the senior partners have days that they anchor the meeting. So today, this person has anchored the meeting. You listen to him, you saw how he did it, and then when it's your turn, you can take tips from him, add your own, and all of that. So the children are mentoring themselves. In fact, if I tell you about the mastermind, I'll sleep here today. Anyway, but basically, just put it at the back of your mind that consolidation is key. And so everything that your children are learning, if they don't have a way of expressing it, directing themselves, okay? Self-direction, expressing it, self-motivation. Your children are supposed to take your external motivation, know it, learn it, understand it, believe and trust in what you want, the good thing that you want for them. Now, when they get to the point where they know, when they understand, and they trust what it is that you want for them, their own intrinsic or internal motivation begins to rise. And so they get of satisfaction from doing it, because now they understand why they have to or why they need to do it. And so it is that internal motivation that makes your child begin to do it willingly. And at that point, we say your child can now self-direct. This is the concept that we use at the mastermind. So you should read how I respond to their reports when they send in their report. Oh, hi, honey. I see that you were unable to achieve all your goals today. However, I want to congratulate you for the 2 that you achieved. Tomorrow is another day. Let's do it. Boom. Do you not know that research says that when you tell children that they can, when you say to children you can, and they begin to believe that they can, they actually will? Why do you think that Obama picked the slogan, yes, we can, when he had a task that was Herculean? How would he have come from nowhere to come and become the US president, the first Black man, without believing that he could? And so he didn't leave that with himself. He knew that he had to make the people who vote him in believe. And so what did he sell to them? He sold the slogan that you can. And so gradually they started believing it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And that became the slogan. It was everywhere. We joke with too many things. As they were saying yes, it was prepping their minds. And so the motivation came. And these young people started knocking on doors, going all around, because we can. Yes, we can. And did they not can? Indeed, they could. Thank you for everyone. Okay, where I get this way, give me some water to drink. All right, so thank you very much. This is the size of our Skill Up show today. Okay, this is the size of our Skill Up show today. I want you to go out there and begin to look at some of these things that we've talked about today. If your child does not need help for something, let the child do it on their own. When the child does it on their own, what happens is the child is building muscles for that thing. Okay, as the child is doing it, the child's the neural pathways in the child's brain that allows them gain mastery in that thing are being sharpened, and so the child gets better and better and better. Now teach your children how to ask for help when they need help. So when they get to a crossroad where they do not know what to do, when they do not know how to go about it, then let them ask you for help. Even at the point where you come, you can nudge them, you can give them prompts, you can give them ideas on how to do those things. Oh, okay, I see you're struggling with this. Okay, honey, do you think, look at that thing. Maybe perhaps you should turn it horizontally and see if it fits. Why don't you try that? And then the child tries the horizontal way. Okay, why don't you try it? And then he puts it and he goes, oh, it did fit. So what happened? You just prompted the child, and then you told the child that I know and I believe that you can. So why don't you try it? So the child goes, he tries it. That's the only way that they can build self-confidence and self-reliance, knowing that they can because they have. I achieved it the last time. I can achieve it again. My name is Berimbet Chima. I create resources for young people and for parents. All of it aimed at making your child the best version of themselves. This is our Skill Up Journal. It's an amazing, amazing resource to help your children build the I can spirit, to help them become self-sufficient people, children who can reflect and all of that. We use the Skill Up Journal every day. Your child can set goals every day, achieve those goals, reflect at the end of the day, what did I achieve today? And then they are able to write it down, document it. The brain is learning twice when you're able to write it down. Affirmation, your children are able to say affirmations to themselves every day. Gratitude, they're able to say, I am grateful for this, thereby building empathy within them. Understanding that it is not their right that people help them. It is because these people choose to, so that our children are not entitled. So if you point our children to appreciate the things that people do, the tiny things, okay, this is how we begin to build them to be people who are empathetic and people who are appreciative. The journal will help you do that. Parents, all the skills we're talking about will not fall on your children. It is the small, small skills, the small, small habits that you create every day, right from when they are little children. That's how they build the skills that will come together to form that thing that you want to see. You want your children to introspect, to think, to reflect, to build compassion, to build empathy. Get them to start journaling. And this is a purpose journal. It's just 4,000 naira. We have it on Amazon. If you're away from here in Nigeria, we can deliver to you. We have pick-up points where you can pick all around. This is the parenting planner. With this planner, you can write the best things that happen to your children. You can write notes for your children right in here. You can record events in their lives. Okay, when my daughter lost her first tooth is right here. Every note I write to my children is stuck inside their journal. Every child needs one. When the child is 25, when your child is married, you can hand this planner to your child. All the plan for them to go to Harvard, all those plans they have, we have paid for you to do all of those plans right here. So when they are 25, 28, 30, 32, you can hand this, and then you have given your child a manual to start their own journey as parents. You can hand this to whoever you want to take custody of your children when you are not there. I am not the one that said you will die. It's God that said it, but that's not what I'm talking about. Either way, you know what I'm talking about, okay? You have someone going on this journey with you, you and your spouse. You want to be on the same page at all times, and you have where you have documented it. The planner does all that for you. This is my book, the only parenting book that I have. It's called Mentor Parent. It has my journey in the first 10 years of being a parent, how I struggled with work and being a parent, how I did novice parent, how I learned, how I suffered because I didn't have emotional intelligence, how I learned on that journey, how I supported my son, all of it right here. This one is my very first book. Clap for me. This is my very first book, is Bedtime Stories for Champions. It's a collection of inspirational stories of young people who are changing the world and how they are doing it. Young people who are doing amazing things. Young people from all around the world. Nigeria, America, everywhere. This is a story of Braille and how Louis Braille wrote the Braille when he was only about 10 years old. And the Braille is being used by visually impaired people even till this day, over a century after Louis Braille passed on. This is it. Your children need to know that at 10 they are a powerhouse and they can do anything they put their mind to. Amazing book. No child should not have this book. It's only 3,500 naira, 3,000 naira, 3,000 naira, and then this is 4,000 naira. And then the last one is my latest book, Christmas Stories for Champions. It's a collection of stories that parents have told their children about their Christmas experiences. What was Christmas like in Elisha? What was Christmas like in Kaduna with your Muslim neighbor? How did you guys share food on Christmas Day? And what happened on Salah Day? How come you and your Hausa friend became best of friends and your family became best of families? Especially at a time like this where we are becoming more and more tribalistic, sectional, and all of that. Children need to read stories like this that will help them understand the place of unity. Christmas Story for Champion is an amazing collection of 10 different stories. How one father became an author, titled all of these stories in this book. It's not just about Christmas, it's the stories that are told. You can get all of our books, you can get all of them at 50. How much? Okay, all the children's books were 13,000, and all of the other books for 13 and 6, 19,000 naira. So thank you very much, everyone. You can pick them piece by piece anyway, if you want. So if you like to have any of our book, just put it there. Yes, you can get almost all of them on Amazon. Yes, you can get this on Amazon, this on Amazon. This is not on Amazon yet. This on Amazon, and this. So it's just one of them that is not on Amazon. Okay, my son's book is not here. All right, so thank you very much, everyone who made time to be here. We do not take it for granted that you were here. We don't. How do I get it in UK? You can get it on Amazon. You just check on Amazon, and you can get them on Amazon. The only one you won't get on Amazon is the planner for now. So the planner is not on Amazon yet. So every other thing you can get on Amazon. So thank you very much. We do not take it for granted that you are here. Oh my goodness, how can I forget this? Okay, so we are opening registration. Okay, I talked about the challenge. So you can pay for the challenge. It's just 3,500 naira. Wherever you are, you can pay and you can join us in that challenge. It's not tasking. 3-day session. You will follow us and we'll teach you all you need to know. And then you will go and start that journey on your own. But we're here to support you when you have questions. Okay, now there is a conference that is coming up in April, strictly for children. Do you have a child between ages 6 and 16? Okay, more like 7 and 16, even your 6-year-old can be there. Okay, it's a free conference for children by children. We're going to have different children and young brands. Okay, young people in their teenagers and early 20s, and we're going to have children young children. Okay, some of the children in the mastermind will be showcasing at the conference, okay, because we're building them to be leaders. So they would have sessions. Now, these are children in tech, children who are entrepreneurs, children who are sports people, children in theater. We have all of these children. They will be sharing with us their journey, their experiences, and how they have been supported and how they have started making great impact in the world already. Do you have a child that you want to motivate? Do you have a child that you want inspired? Do you have a child that needs to start seeing what other children are doing to inspire them or to get them into that place? Then you need to register them for the conference. The conference will be out today. Just click and join that conference, the list for the conference. It's going to happen during the holiday, during the Easter holiday. It's a 3-day conference, and your children will just need to come. They log in. It's going to be online fully, so they can just log in to the session. Children by children. I am super excited. I cannot tell you. It will blow your mind. I mean, you'll be in the background listening to these children, right? I promise you, it will blow your mind. This is what our children should start doing, consolidating. It's not just about all those instructions we give them. They need to be motivated by, they need to be inspired by their children like them. Rather than have all those classmates and children that you don't know where they are coming from, inspire your children and pressure them. Why don't you put them in a place where the pressure is positive pressure, right? More like inspiration and all of that. So the moment you see the link, please click and join. It will be both on Zoom and on YouTube. So you can join on Zoom, you can join on YouTube, any platform you want is just fine. But we're going to have the conference and it's going to be huge. It's going to be big, it's going to be huge. We're also looking for sponsors for the conference, okay? We have young children doing this, right? So of course they need to, we have young children and we need people that will support us in this conference. This is not gathering coaches from everywhere. This is gathering young people who are brands on their own, who are building their brands, who are building themselves. Okay, we're going to have them in this conference. authors. We're going to have all of them in this conference. You need to register your child for this conference, I promise you. And it's during the holiday. So yes, the children can be a part of this during the Easter holiday. Don't worry, it's not going to be anywhere around Easter week. It's going to be at a free period where your children can just log on with their popcorn on their bed and they can learn. I promise you, it will blow your mind. If you also like to sponsor in any way, however small, please, we are here, we're open. Please send us a DM just to support us to bring this to as many children around the world. Thank you very much, everyone. I think we have stayed far beyond our time today. I am sorry about that. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Marybeth. Again, I do not take it for granted that you give me audience and you allow me be a part of your parenting journey. Have a fantastic week and have a blessed day. Bye. Thank you. Did I see any comments here? I mean, questions. I can't. Deep. Wow. Very true. You can say it again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.